Hello there. I welcome you to this special program, The 40 Plus Woman with Busola Jegede. My name is Busola Jegede and I am passionate about women, especially women in that special demographic, 40 years and above. On this program, we bring you various tips, wisdom nuggets. We tell you things that would help you to position yourself so that as you grow up, you're not going to be shortchanged in life. And today promises to be a wonderful episode. I'm excited because the topic of today is so critical and relevant to every woman out there. Today we're talking about the 40-plus woman and her financial security. And specifically, the topic for today is woman, the future. How safe are you? We've seen so many things happen to women, especially women in Africa. And when these things happen, it's painful to see women who have worked hard all their lives and just because of a turn of event, they become beggarly, they are disadvantaged, they don't know where to start from. And that's why we have decided to start conversations that would empower the woman. We're going to be talking about how you can position yourself financially. We're going to be talking about how we can tackle some limitations that hold women back from being able to be financially secure. And on today's program, I have a wonderful guest who is also passionate about empowering women financially. She's done a lot of work in this respect. It's my pleasure to welcome to the set of the 40-plus woman today, Mrs. Ibukun Omololu. Ibukun, you're welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Busola.
Yes, it's such a joy when we talk about women and we get so passionate. It's as if, and I know this is a topic that you've done a lot of work in.
Yes.
Looking at the Nigerian woman and the African woman in general, because, you know, we have a lot of similar circumstances surrounding us in Africa.
Yes.
We find out that women generally, we are the homemakers. Typically, we're the ones that bear the brunt of a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Even when the man works and gives the woman to manage the home, she still has to supplement to some extent. But really, where is the woman today? What is the state of the African woman? And especially the woman who is over 40. Where would you say she is right now?
This is a very beautiful question, and I think it's really apt and timely for this period because having worked with women for a long time, I've come to realize that women, especially in old age, tend to be more regrettable with their lives. And they get to grow older in poverty, in despair, and with disrespect, basically because they do not have financial covering. We've not been equipped with some of the right virtues and giftings that we could actually make use of while growing up. And so what happens is, as we continue to grow our lives, we've not been deliberate and intentional about what happens to us growing up. And we keep looking for a protection space. And that protection space really centers around some of our biggest fears. And I would share 3 of them with you. There are a whole lot more than that, but I would share the 3 biggest ones. Women are afraid of losing their spouses. And I need not go into so many stories of women who have lost their spouses and they are dropped into abject poverty immediately because
so sad.
Nothing has been, put in place for them really. The second biggest fear would be a loss of a means of income or a job or a business. And the pandemic has shown us how people are definitely out of jobs now and fighting tooth and nail to keep their homes together. And the third biggest fear would be a disease that renders them incapacitated and then they're not able to take care of their families and their children. And I found out that this is what is happening worldwide. A lot of women are scared about this, and the truth of the matter is they do not have a financial cover. They do not have a financial blanket to help them or tide them over if they hit the rock bottom. So it's so sad that even the IMF had projections that the largest growing segment of poor people and our poor population are women. And the last being a disease that renders them incapacitated and they are not able to take care of their children or their families. It could be maybe an aged parent or an aunt or uncle. And yes.
Hello there, my name is Busola Jegede. I am a John Maxwell certified coach, a consultant, and a chartered accountant. For over 15 years, I've been working with women, helping them to discover their purpose, their vision, holding their hands, seeing them through turning their visions to profitable ventures. And it will be a delight to work with you. Do you feel unfulfilled? Do you feel that there is more to your life? Do you have a story to tell, a book to write, a vision to birth? Are you over 40 or 50? I can assure you that the second half of your life can be better than the first half. Why don't you sign up for my one-on-one coaching session or a strategy session? It will be a joy to work with you to reinvent yourself, to birth a new you. I want us to talk a little bit more about those three biggest fears. And the first one is something that I see that really incapacitates a lot of women, the loss of a spouse. Many women are so afraid. And when we're talking about the 40-plus woman, as women get older, these things tend to happen at this age. And one of the things I see in Africa with women is there is the limitation that some people face even in their marriage. In order to position themselves, some husbands tell their wives not to work. And so what if the man loses his job, or the man dies, or something happens? What's going to happen? And some women are very comfortable in this position, especially when the man has a good job and they feel, well, I'll manage my husband. I believe every woman has value to deliver, even if the form of work you do, maybe because you have young children, you have to, you may not be able doing a 9 to 5, but you must be able to deliver. A woman must know how to make money. What if something happens to the husband? Does it mean the family, how are you going to pay the school fees, the house rent? And typically in Africa, people don't plan for that. People don't save for education. And it is here that you see people go cap in arms. Please, send in text, I need to pay school fees, I need to pay house rent. It's heartbreaking when you know that, especially women who can bring in value are denied because of their marriage. And some men believe that it's their job, let my wife just sit down. I think this has to change. It has to change. And also when you spoke about a disease, women also need to take care of themselves.
Definitely.
Stress is causing a lot of harm to women's health. Some women, you know, in Africa, we always believe we spiritualize everything. People don't know their numbers. They are eating wrong, high cholesterol, susceptible to heart disease. They're not checking their blood pressure. And look at it, cancer takes women away. So many issues that are so, you know, embedded in these 3 points. Now, what else do you see as a disadvantage for the 40-plus woman or the African woman that she needs to pay attention to?
Okay, beautiful question. 3 things. The first one would be cultural upbringing and stereotypes. I think the way we've been brought up as women, we've been kind of marginalized from a lot of things and shortchanged from a lot of things. And like I said, we've not been taught how to deal with self-awareness, with self-visibility or self-promotion, with negotiation that we can bring to the workplace, and negotiation in the place of marriage as well, because there's a place of negotiation in the marriage. And a lot of these things affect the way we deal with our finances, because if you cannot have a conversation with your husband like, sweetheart, I'm really thinking of, you know, purchasing or acquiring property, and I want to do this for myself or for the children, and your husband has a problem with that. That's a big issue, and there's a lot of cultural
really a big stereotype
there's a lot of cultural stereotypes around women even owning assets, because
or buying shares,
because the men believe that okay, she's now going to have control and she would not be able to respect me anymore or submit to me. So it looks like the lordship or leadership of the house has been ceded to the woman.
So how do we overcome that? So I'm sure there are so many women out there, they want to do it. So what tip can we give women so that you can have a win-win situation?
So I always tell women, use your feminine gifting. There's a place of leadership in the home for women, and there's a place of leadership in the home for the men. But you need to apply a lot of tact. There are times, know when to bring up conversations. And then don't come from an emotional aspect. Bring in the facts and figures. Talk to your husband. Sweetheart, if something happens to both of us today, what happens to these children? How can we safeguard them for the future? What can we do together? And research has also shown that when partners come together and have money goals, they tend to live happier lives because
money goals.
Yes, because they are open, they are trusting towards each other. They know that if my wife has this amount of money, she is not going to bring me down. Or if my husband is in trouble and he needs this amount of money, I can step in, I can help him. But what a lot of us are doing is we want the control for ourselves as men, and we are stopping it from the women. The truth of the matter is, if you do not let women learn how to deal with these things by acquiring assets, by getting their fingers burnt, by having life insurance and knowing how to deal with it, and then you as a man take your place to help her. If she has a problem with it, teach her. Let her know that this is what you can do. This is a partnership. It's not a competition. A lot of us are living competitive lives with each other. Yes.
You know, you've hit something very strong there, which I believe as many who are watching, we need to begin to unlearn certain things, especially for men. Because it's going to work well for the overall well-being of the family when you have money goals that you both subscribe to.
Exactly.
But you see, sometimes information is not shared. Some women don't know how much their husband earns. And when the woman wants to find out, the men get defensive. Some men believe that, why should I note you on the property? Do you want to kill me? So a lot of what the women are suffering will only be addressed when some men change.
True.
Men have to change, and then women must be tactful.
Yes.
We've got to be wise. We must have negotiation skills.
Yes.
And it's something that every woman must look at her own peculiar circumstance.
Exactly.
You know, we are all people of faith, no matter what your faith is. You also have to lean on your faith. Maybe you need to pray that God should touch the heart of your husband.
Yes.
If you want to have certain conversations.
It would even surprise you
it's so heartbreaking.
A lot of men do not put that in place in terms of leaving a will or putting some of those things in structures or some of those structures in place. They even make their next of kin, maybe their brothers. It might not necessarily be the wife or the children.
Because they don't trust the wife?
Because they do not trust the wife. And the truth of the matter is, I can't say, it's not a one-size-fits-all. Because not every marriage is peaceful and nice. So you as a woman should know what works in your marriage and be able to apply emotional intelligence to it, that if he's not good with finances, what can I do to help him? And what can I do to safeguard myself? The whole idea is not to cause a rift between you and your partner. It is just for you to have a bit of financial self-sufficiency. So that if anything happens to your spouse and you know he is not particularly, ready to put some of these things in place, if anything happens to him, you can take some form of decisions, financial decisions on your own. What if there's an emergency? What if there's a contingency? What if he dies?
And it's not even a loss of a spouse can only be the problem.
Exactly.
The man may be sick, he may lose his job. And so when a woman is not prepared to step in, to step in and bring value to the table, it can totally destabilize the family, especially when they're used to a certain lifestyle.
Exactly.
And maybe they've been traveling abroad,
yes.
and now they cannot travel. So every woman must be able to abase and abound, as it were.
P1 Premium presents to you Premium Vintage Gardens, located at the heart of Ibejuleki, by Lakaway Golf Course. It has an excellent title of C of O and Governor's Consent, 100% dry land, and built-up neighborhood. Sizes and prices include 6.250 million for 300 square meters. A 450 square meters goes for 9,375,000 naira. The 600 square meters goes for 12,500,000 naira. Estate feature, gated and secured environment, perimeter fencing, good road network, gardens and landscaping, prompt allocation, neighborhood, Novera Shopping Mall, and Corona's Grove, Lekki. Other estates from P1 Premium includes Imperial Estate, Jikoyi, Abuja, Imperial City Estate, Asaba, Imperial City, Warri, Imperial City, Port Harcourt. For more inquiry, visit our website www.p1premium.com or call us on 08033117277 or 08052928259. La 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 la.
Now I want us to look at the woman when we're talking about all these things, the limitations, the cultural limitations, even in the workspace. You are in the workspace, there is a kind of glass ceiling for women that they don't promote women above a certain level. They believe women cannot handle certain things, and you see women bringing into the workplace so much, and we thank God that now this seems to be changing, because we're seeing many more women in leadership positions, but we don't have yet enough. So for you being in the workspace, you spoke sometime about support structure. How can a woman position herself so that as she grows older, she does not lose out? Because even politically, you see the men going for political meetings at night. That's when they hold their political meetings at night. So a woman in politics who is married, and you know, so many things work against the woman. And as you are growing older, you also want your career to grow older. What are those things that a woman can put in place so that she can secure her career even as she grows older?
Beautiful. I think the first place I'll start from is everything we know about leadership has been from men, particularly European and American men. And so we tend to have already laid standards for us because it's from the men. And there's no way the men can feel or understand what we're going through, because we're women. We are womb women. We have the tendency to carry a child and birth a child and do all of that. And so one of the things I'll tell women particularly is to know what works for you and have a solid support structure. And I'll say this from my experience. When I had my first son some 7 years ago, I was a total mess. And it really affected my marriage, because I was a career woman. I wanted to work, and my husband was, yes, he wanted me to work, but there was a child, and there were so many changes that came with that we did not understand. We didn't even envisage it. Exactly. And so it was such a big problem. I didn't have support structures that could really help me. My husband he wasn't trying to be mean. He just didn't really understand and was a bit clueless about it. And so one of the things that I think...
And he would want your child not
one of the things
that
sets us back is our support structures are not clear enough, and we do not bring in the men. The support structure starts first with your husband. But what we do is we saddled women to taking care of the children alone. So most time when husbands are with the children, they're playing with them. They might not necessarily be taking care of them. And that is a lot of work. It is a lot of work for women.
And so when there's a need, they call the mother.
Exactly. And so it's important that you get support structures. It could be your mother-in-law, it could be your mother, it could be a cousin or auntie, or it could just be the caregiver, the nannies. It is so important. When I had my second son, I got the right caregiver, and in a space of 2 years, under 2, my son is about 2 years plus right now. But I've written my book, I've started my podcast, I've grown my business. Yes, I'd grown the business in my organization to international repute. I was doing a whole lot more, and I was more fulfilled, and my husband was supporting. He was doing his part. There are days when I would be in the office and I had to have meetings, and he's the one going for PTA.
Or to the hospital.
Exactly. He did that so many times. He had to take the boys for their shots, and I was not available. So it's that equity, the fact that I can bring my own quota to the table. You can bring your own quota to the table. And so what I would tell women is this: Have solid support structures. You do not necessarily have to leave the workplace, because the lie that has been sold to us is leave the workplace and then go and take care of your children. Because it is your place. You need to be saddled with taking care of the children. No, it doesn't work that way. You can't have it all, maybe not all at the same time, at different times. Understand that it's a journey and there are timings.
And be ready to invest in this
Exactly.
support structure, because you may need to pay a very good caregiver.
Exactly.
And not just one girl from the village.
No, they don't. Exactly. They don't come cheap.
What a lot of people do. And
Yes.
then you see all sorts of stories, the people beating you.
You know,
so if you invest in what is going to help your career, that is why.
You have really hammered seriously on another part that really gets to me, the nanny industry, which is a very unregulated industry, but it makes a lot of difference in the lives of the women. So what we are doing is we are shortchanging ourselves. We are getting little Ekaite from the village who does not have the educational standard that we're looking for.
That even needs training herself.
Training, needs to be able to use discretion to take decisions if there's an emergency. What if the baby you left that child with is choking? So in the clear sense, you've gotten a minor to do the work of a full-grown woman that you are not able to do, and then you expect a whole lot more.
And so when there's a crisis, people just say, women sit at home, don't work.
They don't work, you know.
So we need to get it right.
Yes,
that's
we need to.
Very, very
we need to
important.
get it right.
Fantastic point. Now, we're also seeing that a lot more women now, you mentioned something about disrespect. As women grow older, I've seen women who probably when they were younger, they were working, you know, they had money, but because they didn't put the right structures in place, now as they grew older and things and life happened, maybe they lost their spouse or they lost their job. As a matter of fact, I see more older women who have to drive themselves because probably, you know, they can just manage to have a car but not afford a driver. I mean, like, you know, when you're in Africa, those kind of things matter because the traffic is bad. So it's an indication of the financial status of the woman. And some even say, oh, my children, they're supposed to be supporting me, they don't have a job yet. We're seeing a lot of pressure on women who depend on their children to see them through. And then also when people are sick, they become a welfare case. People are now contributing because probably there's no health insurance. What is it you're saying, and what can women do to alleviate this kind of problems?
Okay, the first one that I would say directly comes to mind is, first of all, know that your financial independence or retirement planning or whatever it is first of all your responsibility. Now, we grow up with the stereotype that after I've gotten married and I have children, they would grow older and then they would take care of me. Newsflash, it just might not happen that way.
They'll buy me a Jeep.
It just might not happen that way. I've heard terrible stories of children who grow up and, I mean, they've ceded control of the house to them and they literally lock their parents out of the house and own those properties. So, first of all, it is your own responsibility. It is not your husband's responsibility. It is not your children's responsibility. However, it's not that they can't do it. I mean, if your children or husband wants to do it, it's nice. Who wouldn't want to be spoiled or taken care of? But establish your own financial sufficiency.
Security.
Yes, establish it and have it down so that if anything happens, or if there's some form of disaster, you can stand on your own. The last thing I would say is your sources of income. Where do they come from? Have you done enough for yourself to own assets? Assets that are paying. Rent, properties, mortgages, digital assets, businesses, equity investing, stocks, bonds, treasury bills. Where would your money come from by the time you get to old age and you need to take care of yourself? Then you have insurance to think of because you have your health, just like you said.
Health insurance.
Exactly. Who's going to take care of you? What if you need special needs by the time you get older? Will your children be around? Will you need a nurse? Will you need to do will you need to do medical checkup every year, you know? So those are the things you need to factor in. Will you still have children in school at that time when you get older? Will you still be paying school fees? Does this lifestyle Does it encourage you to travel like you want to do, or even have a business? What would you be doing? So these are a lot of things that women do not really sit down and think about.
Because typically women leave the thinking to the men when it gets to family issues. Oh,
yes.
Okay, whatever my husband says.
Yes.
And that's good, but we have to be involved and we have to be intentional. Fantastic points that we are talking about. We're going on a quick break. Don't you go away. This is the 40 Plus Woman with Busola Jegede. See you in a bit.
Introducing Blissful Honey Beans. Rich in protein and fiber. Good nutrition for your family. Blissful Honey Beans. Hygienically packed in 2 kg and 1 kg packet. Stone-free and weevil-free. Pour straight to your pot and cook. Stress-free and convenient. Order online and it will be delivered anywhere in Lagos. For other locations, call 070-8307-6210. Blissful Honey Beans. No stress.
La 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 la.
Welcome back. In the next episode, I'm still going to have a lovely sister with me here, and this is where we're going to draw the curtain on this particular episode. I want to thank you so much for your time. You can join the conversation on our Facebook page. We have a Facebook page, a Facebook group and a page. It's called the 40 Plus Woman. Search for it on Facebook. Subscribe to join the group, and you can also follow us on Instagram. My handle is at Jegede Busola, or the 40 Plus Woman on Instagram. Now, if you've got questions that you want answered, you can send us an email on transformationsbj@gmail.com. transformationsbj@gmail.com. So on that note, we're going to draw the curtains on this particular episode. Ibukun, thank you so much for being on the broadcast, and we look forward to having another session with you.
Definitely.
So that's how it's been. Bye for now.
La 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 la.
It's been an eye-opener today on the session we've had on the 40 Plus Woman. How financially secured are you as a woman for the future? Many of us tend to think, yes, let me train my children and then they'll take care of me when I get old. But we are realizing that that is not happening. So we can see that we need to wake up as women. We need to secure our future. What are you doing? Women have so many fears of loss of a spouse, disability, or maybe if they lose a job. That's why it's important we pay attention and we begin to secure our future. I hope your eyes have been opened to the things you need to do in your life. We'll see you on the next time on the show. I'm Busola Jegede.
Like a diamond in the rough, you were built up to be tough. You were blessed beyond the curse by the power of the curse. So don't give up on the cause, regardless of the cause. 40 plus woman.